Alright. Okay. There have been minor technical difficulties setting up for tonight's stream. Internet cut out for no reason whatsoever. And now Twitch integrated throwing system is also shitting the bed. It works, but not the way it's supposed to, which is really stupid. Oh, howdy, Dark Gold. Also, today was like an irritating day at work. It's enough to make a guy turn to the dark side. Which is also kind of related to what we're talking about today. In this month's writing workshop, we're going to be talking about writing anti-heroes and the difficulties that come with writing anti-heroes. So let's get started, shall we? We'll be talking about anti-heroes. Much more complicated than the standard good guy. They feel like real people. Which circles back to the talk I had about writing believable characters. Anti-heroes require extra care in writing. Lest you turn them into an edgelord that the audience will clown on. Gotta be careful about that. We found 5 copperheads, 4 youths, and a single adult. Let me tell you, young, copperhead sleeping is far more lethal. I don't even know what a copperhead... Let me look that up right now. What is a copperhead? Oh, it's a snake. Oh, interesting. I see. Species of venomous snake, a pit viper, endemic to this part of the world. Ah, okay, there's a map on the wiki. Interesting. Alright. Good to know. I won't say it where it is because I don't want to dox you, okay? But back to the lecture. Even more than your other characters, anti-heroes require a lot of planning and care so that the audience can still sympathize and even root for them. As a writer, a sign you'll know when you've written a successful anti-hero when your readers tell you, oh, why can I not? It's because, there we go. I wanted to hate character X. But I just couldn't. That's how you know. That's how I know you did good. Another line maybe. Character X is a hot mess. I love them. So how do we go about writing a good anti-hero? I will go over some general guidelines. Remember, these guides are not definitive. I am also learning this as we go along. I will also provide examples. Mainly ones I can recall from memory and go over why I could root for them. I'll even use myself as an example. Yes, believe it or not, I started out as an anti-hero. So, a few things I noticed. So, the first element I've noticed in memorable anti-heroes is that they love something. Anti-heroes may be rough around the edges, but they still know how to love, whether it be a romantic interest, family, friends, or something material, or even something about themselves. Ow, 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 ow. Well, if it isn't the New York Snark Exchange, welcome Raiders. I'm Thunderbird Prime, Masked Hero VTuber. And tonight is the first Wednesday of the month, which means I'll be holding my monthly writing workshop streams where I go over some writing advice. Tonight's topic is how to write anti-heroes. Now let's give a shout out to the good old New York Snark Exchange. What were you guys doing? You were doing... Get supported, nerd! Thank you, Chef. Always a pleasure to see you. You were streaming Slay the Princess. Ow. I'm doing better now that work is finished. Thank you for your concern. And let's give the actual... Ow! Let's give the actual Twitch official shout out so everyone can go follow the New York Snark Exchange. They're a wonderful gang. I like popping in their Discord and seeing what's going on. And I tune into their streams, mostly chef streams. I tune into the New York Snark Exchange as well. And they're always willing to give plenty of good advice. Oh, hello, Silent Warlock Cosplay. Now that we've thanked the raid and said hello to the raiders, let's continue on with the lecture. So the first element I've noticed in memorable anti-heroes is that they love something. Anti-heroes may be rough around the edges, but they still know how to love. Whether it be towards a romantic interest, their family, their friends, or something material, even something about themselves. Someone still capable of love is key to gaining audience sympathy. Nobody likes rooting for someone who hates everyone and everything, even if they have a very good reason to. The next strong element of a good anti-hero is that they're the underdog. Underdog. Nobody likes rooting for a bully. But we love to see bullies get what they deserve. It's just downright cathartic seeing that. Which is almost always where the anti-hero comes in. When someone is the underdog and they take down someone powerful, they can get away with almost anything, and we'll root for them. People love someone sticking it to someone, sticking it to the man. All right. Next item. Oops. Third, they are willing to use bad means for good ends. This is teetering on villain territory. So be careful with this. The most important part to separate that part that separates the anti-hero from the villain is that the anti-hero will only use these bad means on bad people. We may not agree with their methods, but we agree with the results. The bad guys get what they deserve, and justice is served for the victims. Even if they're rough around edges, anti-heroes almost always leave their world a better place. Want to know a good $60 game for a Switch that comes out in a week? 10 games, only 3.3 gigs of data? So small, it's so much. Xbox, PlayStation, and stream? Oh, tell us. Share it with the chat as I move on to the next slide. Fourth, they act heroically. This sounds like a no-brainer. But heroism is not necessarily about being a good person. It's about being an active character. Someone who works to change their circumstances. Someone who believes in something and willing to take risks for what they believe in. They see injustice and seek to correct it, even if their means are a little dubious. This circles back to the third point of using bad means for good ends. Fifth, and I feel most importantly, they're real. They feel real. They have darkness in them. And have many paradoxical qualities about them. Like I said before, anti-heroes are hot messes. they make decisions and take actions that most people, while they may not agree with, they can definitely understand why they did it. This is important for all characters, but especially for anti-heroes. Not coming to Xbox, coming to Switch, PlayStation, Steam. Go into so much detail about the BN game. Battle Network. Oh, Battle Network. I've heard about Battle Network. I never had the opportunity to get into Battle Network, but I've heard nothing but good things about Battle Network. Maybe if I have the means to get it, maybe I'll stream it. Maybe. But that's neither here nor there. Alright, now time to talk about examples. Now, time to talk about examples of anti-heroes. Well, I'll do my best to link them to the previous talking point in the previous slides. Don't worry, this time I won't talk about DMC3. I know you're all tired of that. All right. As much as I appreciate Dark Gold, if I do get into Mega Man Battle Network, I would prefer to go in blind with fresh eyes. I want to experience the same wonder that you did. So, I respectfully ask you that if I ever do get into Battle Network, that you please do not backseat. Anyways, back to the stream. Back to the lecture. The most memorable anti-hero from recent anime memory, is Naofumi from Shield Hero. Damn. He got a raw deal. Is he capable of love? Love might be a stretch. But he definitely is capable of showing care and concern for others, especially those in a similar situation to him. He's definitely an underdog. The whole kingdom is against him, along with the other three heroes. when his enemies get their finally get their comeuppance. It is cathartic. He definitely uses questionable means to get the job done. Alright, we might have to make this into another slide. After... oh wait, why is this bold? After being stripped of nearly everything, he kinda had to. He had no other choice. Do I agree with some of his choices? Absolutely not. Can I understand why he did those things? Absolutely yes. Hello, I'm an anti-hero, so I better learn to write myself, lol. You and me both, Wade. You and me both. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, I started out as an anti-hero. Well, that's what character arcs are for, so they can go from being anti-hero to full-on hero. Sometimes. Most of the time, they just become less of a jerk. But remember, the key part of anti-heroes is that they're still a hero. They need to do heroic things, which is where we're getting to. Now Fumi definitely acts heroic when the time comes. When it matters most. He will fight for the little guy that the other three neglect. He will clean up the messes of the other three. He'll give aid in the form of food and medicine to the suffering people, so long as he gets paid for it. Whether with money or traded goods. Yes, it is now Fumi from Shield Hero. I'm giving examples of like some of the most memorable anti-heroes in my head and why they're so memorable. Mainly relating to like 5 major points of like, are they capable of love? Are they an underdog? Do they use bad means for good ends? Do they act heroically? And are they a realistic character? And now Fumi is most certainly realistic. The false accusations thrown against him at the start and being stripped of everything is too real. Him becoming a jaded misanthrope is definitely understandable. These experiences forced him to smarten up and actually learn the mechanics of his shield powers. He definitely struggled at the start, which made his later victories feel earned. And the biggest element of him feeling real is his inner struggle when it comes to this new world. On one hand, the majority of the world, New World, treated him like shit. And at first, he's only fighting to save it out of obligation. If he had the choice, he'd let the world burn. Or at the very least, those who wronged him. However, on the other hand, this is the only world that his newfound allies have. They can't go back to the quote-unquote original world. So he fights for their sake too. This is how he puts the hero in Antihero. Alright. I have plans to actually make my Yu-Gi-Oh! OC have a fake out death and disappear for a month. However, to do alternative world Mambo Jumbo, it was 7 months for him. And return as Antihero Sass King that even Bayonetta or even Dante would clap at him with his one-liners. Hell, even have a good one for his grand re-debut. Now, Dark World Spawn really going out of hell domain just for some petty revenge. Tis. Mad lords like yourself really need to put on ice. I am the man of the job. Go for it. Alright, let's see. Alright. We're making some good time. Alright. I said no DMC 3 this time. But I never said no Kamen Rider. Yeah! Onk from Kamen Rider O's. Definitely an anti-hero that sticks out in my mind. Now let's go over the major points. He definitely loves himself. Specifically, his freedom. His goal is to be truly alive. He does look after AG's welfare, even if it's mostly to serve his own ends. In the supplementary material, it was shown that Ankh is capable of caring about other people. However, backstory happened. Betrayal happened. And he emotionally closed himself off. Only thanks to AG and the gang does he start opening up again. He's definitely the underdog of the greed. They all came back. They all reanimated with full bodies. He only got a floating right arm. I think it was a right arm. Let's look. I need to fact check myself. Make sure I'm not full of shit. Yes, right arm. Right arm. Definitely right arm. I checked the pictures. It's the right arm. So he's certainly at a disadvantage here. He makes up for it with his quick thinking and teaming up with AG and making him the second O's. As you remember, the first O's was the Ancient King. AG is the second O's. Just wanted to make sure that you were paying attention. Ankh is certainly not above using dubious means to defeat the other greed. He's willing to use innocent people to get rid of the greed for good. AG steps in to make sure this doesn't go too far. The two balance each other out. Defeating the greed definitely would make the world a better place. But some of Ankh's plans were questionable. Ankh is definitely an active character. The main thing holding him back is that he's a floating right arm possessing a man on the brink of death. Despite this, he quickly learned how to use modern technology ropes AG into fighting the greed and their yummies. And keeps an active eye out for their activities. And the final point. What was the final point? Despite being just an arm, Ankh feels very real. His past experiences shaped his view of humanity as a whole. He also has his own fears and insecurities as well as dreams. He's worried that something might be wrong with him. As he only resurrected as an arm. Him and AG influence each other and propel each other's character growth. And that's just all the reasons why I think Ankh is a great anti-hero. Oh yeah, it's most certainly in the lyrics of Time Judged All. We'll talk about Time Judged All, about like his lines in Time Judged All definitely reflect his like views. Like to achieve your goals, you can't be picky about the means. Isn't it true that everyone just is just looking out for themselves. Those are like the two most prominent lines in that song that like really reflect who Ankh is. Or more specifically, who Ankh was. Yes, we will actually just finally I will use myself as an example. Yes, Thunderbird Prime. The man, the myth, the legend. The one and only. And I can see the viewership is dropping as I talk about myself, as I toot my own horn. I most certainly know how to love. If nothing else, I love myself. I have to love myself to counterbalance all the hatred that was directed at me my whole life. When it comes to others, whether I like it or not, I am compelled to help others. Perhaps that's why I was chosen as a hero. I know what it's like to be weak and to need help. I have, beyond a shadow of a doubt, been an underdog my entire life. $10K down, 999,990 to go. That's a lot. That is most certainly a lot. From my earliest memories to the start of Chapter 1. Life has always been a struggle for me. You catch glimpses of this through the nightmares. Oh, you're the fool that made Forbidden Skill Soul Resurrection 1 million. Oh, someone's actually saving for that? Well, you could have fooled me. It looks like everyone's just throwing random shit at me. and like throwing 10 things at me and throwing 100 things at me. So I figured you guys are just wasting your points. That seems to be the most common redemption. And the next ones are like form changes, like go into PNG mode or turn into Chimkin Nugget. Why do you think I've stopped? I see. Naruhodo. I suppose we're not so different, you and I, Darkold. I too am saving for like a 1 million point redeem for my Oshi. Now, if only she would return to streaming, but I can't force her to do that. She'll come back when she's nice and ready. And all we can do is wait patiently. Anyways, back to why I'm a good anti-hero. Like, even when I became a hero, I didn't instantly become strong. All my fights so far have been hard fought victories. The latest fight, I even needed help just to stay alive. None of the fights were a cakewalk. The victories felt and were earned. Can't you give somebody 1 million points, because that's going to be years to save up? Well, I guess you just have to be at every stream. And don't worry, it's like I streamed like 5 times a week, so it shouldn't be that hard. And if you stick around for all the raids, that's like easy points too. And like getting watch streaks, I think, still gets you points. A lot of points. But anyways. Do I use bad means for good ends? Strictly speaking, I am using incredible violence to fight and defeat the monsters plaguing the city. So technically, yes. Oh, I can't even spell technically. Whoopsies. Not cooperating with the police probably also counts. Like, I won't actively fight against the police either. Because I know that'll turn me into a bad guy in the eyes of the public. One of the pitfalls of being a hero, you're kind of a slave to PR. So, whenever a confrontation seems likely, I just run away. Running away is a valid option. Yes, being neutral with police is vigilante rule number 1. Ah, I see you're also a fan of the vigilante man. The Joestar technique. Run away! It may seem unheroic, but sometimes that's the only way to prevent yourself from becoming a villain. Or at least an antagonist. As a hero, it's kind of a given. But I do act heroically. The initial chance to become a hero may have fallen into my hands, but after careful consideration, I made and continued to make the active decision to continue being a hero. I started undergoing training, began to familiarize myself with the city as well as my new powers. I most certainly believe in ridding the city of these monsters, and am willing to risk my life to make that happen. If I'm being honest, I'd say I'm being 75% active, 25% passive. If all else fails, how does the Americans put it? Bust a cap in your ass. Is that what they say? I don't know. I'm Canadian. Am I real? I'm too real. I'm a hot mess. An absolute trash fire. At least at the start. I am a man thrown into one desperate situation after another. I had heroism thrust upon me. Me, someone who was ready to mug a man at night. from the nightmares. You can tell I have a lot of emotional baggage. I have trouble trusting others. I'm ready to lie at the drop of a hat. But also, I'm someone I'm not someone who can stand by and let people be hurt, even if I risk getting hurt in the process. These conflicting and almost paradoxical views is what helps me feel real in the eyes of the reader. I mean, Thunderbird, I'm American. I can hardly understand what I say half the time. Are you guys okay? Sometimes I look at the board like, the fuck they doing over there? And I mean that in like the most neutral way possible, like neither positive nor negatives. Like I'm genuinely curious / baffled. Then again, I look at Canada's current situation. That it's not that much better. But that's neither here nor there. I feel like we've reached the end of tonight's writing workshop. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you all learned something new. I definitely learned something new about some of the more memorable characters I like, and in fact, I learned something new about myself. And if you learn something new about yourself, I think you're doing okay. Now, let's, as always, there's the link to all my socials. There's a raid message. Ow. Yeah, I think Twitch integrated throwing system may have screwed up somehow. But we will... I know who we're gonna raid. We're going to raid Melinda. Live to the sibling. So we'll start the raid soon, and remember, stay pride.